instant success, struggles, and then kind of lead me up to current day of how you're, building your business.
Mm-hmm. So got introduced. I mean, I had a nice start that was getting off of there because when I came in the door, my mom was already started in it, taking on these clients that have all these properties we got to deal with. So we got all these properties. I got to be calling the loss mitigators. I got to be doing that. So I got something I can do to start off with right out the bat. Took it for granted a little bit, probably having leads and opportunities and that. When I started out with it, I was kind of working a little bit as an assistant. They were paying me a base kind of salary that was at that point, very small amount, and then making some additional commission stuff for any sort of representation I might have brought in from where my wife was working, like her colleagues and stuff like that, finding that, and people from high school, college, stuff like that. I would still make those commissions. And somewhere along the line, we were doing that. I wanted to be making more money than what we were doing at the time, as some of that stuff started drifting. And so we're kind of moving around smaller brokerages for a little bit, and then at the end of 2009, the one that we're at basically got absorbed by Keller Williams Consultants. They came in and said, "Hey, let's bring your." We had gone from, in that year, a brokerage that was like 20 agents down to 10 at the end of it. And at that point, I remember checking the MLS. There were only 3 of us that were actually producing, which was the owner of it, and then my mom and I. Everybody else wasn't doing anything. So they gobbled us up, brought us in, knew that we were doing stuff with short sales, and they wanted to be able to teach on that and teach other people how to do that, or be the resource that they could just refer people into if they need those kinds of services. So we went over to that. But at that time, I told my mom, and my dad he never got a license. He was kind of involved in the back end of things too. He ended up finding another opportunity for him in his career. And so it kind of took his focus away from the real estate stuff that we were doing. But I said at that time, as we're switching, making this transition, this seems like a natural time. Let's not do that like salary part of it anymore for me doing this. I want to go full wholesale change on this. Let's go straight commission on everything. I remember in the notes here they had given me about this conversation, it said, "Did you have any doubters, supporters on that?" And it's a hard conversation to have on there because my dad was a little bit of one of my doubters when I came in and made that switch. And I think it's probably a little projection of his own insecurities. He worked as basically 1099, making money for his company, but he had very long-term relationships with the companies that he's working with.
Sure.
And probably at times, under, accepted less than what he probably could have been charging just for the sake of security.
Sure.
So he valued security and consistency, things like that. And I think he saw straight commission sales type work as being not secure, risky, highs, lows, all that stuff. And I didn't. Going back to the school stuff, like there's a ceiling, and I don't like a ceiling. I need drive. I need a limitless opportunity that reflects my efforts. So, in the words of Michael Jordan, I took that personally when he cast some doubt about me making that transition. So that first year of going straight commission with that, I made more money than I did the year before with the salary. And then the next year I doubled it. And then the next year I doubled it again. So I think I went from, I think it was like 36,000 gross commission that first year to 68. And then the next year was up to about, I think, 120 in gross commission.
Which is awesome because, guys, remember back then, I mean, the average sales price was probably $120,000 or whatever.
I love watching the trend of my average house price on there, because there was a time it just got over 100,000, and then I remember if I ever came across somebody that's like, "All right, what'd you get pre-approved for?" And they're like, 250,000. I'm like, sweet, we can go buy a house anywhere. 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2,000 square feet, great school district. Let's go get it.
Yeah.
And we're going to have options galore. You want to go see 8 homes this weekend? Which 8 do you want to look at?
Yeah.
You might have to go Sunday and go see another 8 too. And they'll be fighting for you.
It's one of those things, I always ask that question because I'm always curious of like, is there, what really drives, agents in our business,
Yeah,
doubter supporters,
yeah,
and I think everyone's different, right? And some
yeah,
people need, that chip on their shoulder, and some people need more of a support system. And I think, understanding that as an individual, is going to help you get through that business, that start.
yeah. It definitely helps create that spark. At some point, you need to make a transition though, where it can't always just be a chip on the shoulder
Yeah.
and everything. You get a little irritated, a little edgy, and we talked about like the infinite game thing. You can't just always be in that state though. At some point, you need to
Right.
evolve beyond it.
Right.
Uh,
But using that also as fuel to get to that next level,
yeah,
right? And that's the, under really understanding yourself. And that's my biggest
yeah,
thing is like, when I talk to agents, like be true to who you are. And then, real estate, it doesn't matter. It all works. There's plenty of ways to define success in this business. There's plenty
mm,
of ways to go and get clients.
yeah,
But where I see a lot of agents struggle is when they're doing things that's not true to who they are,
yeah,
right? And it works against you, right,
yeah.
when you're doing that. So